Welcome to our channel. Today, we're back with a brand new topic just for you. Before we start the podcast, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into JavaScript. It's this language that honestly powers so much of what we all do online.
It really is fundamental.
Yeah, think about it, clicking a button on a website, seeing your social feed just update itself, or even those search bars that guess what you're typing.
That's very often JavaScript doing the heavy lifting right there in your browser.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack why this one language is, well, so vital and frankly so versatile in, the digital world we live in, especially if you're trying to get a quick but solid grasp on it.
Exactly. It's often invisible, working behind the scenes, but it's what turns static web pages into, well, living, breathing, interactive things. Understanding it is key to understanding the modern web.
Okay, so let's start right there. What exactly is JavaScript? Lay it out for us.
Okay, so at its core, JavaScript is a high-level programming language. It's typically interpreted, which means code runs line by line, mostly inside your web browser.
Interpreted, okay.
Yeah, think of it like a live translator reading instructions one by one instead of translating the whole book first. And fun fact, it was created way back in 1995 by Brendan Eich at Netscape.
Oh, Netscape.
Right. And he did it in, get this, about 10 days.
10 days! Seriously, that sounds intense.
It was incredibly fast. But the goal back then was actually quite specific.
What was the problem they were trying to solve?
Well, websites back then were mostly static HTML, just text and images, maybe some links. The idea was to add some basic interactivity directly into the page.
So make them do stuff, not just sit there looking pretty or, well, maybe not so pretty back then.
Exactly. Before JavaScript, the web was much more passive. You read things, you click links, but the page didn't really react to you in real time.
Gotcha. Like digital paper almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But JavaScript was the thing that allowed, say, checking a form before you submitted it, or simple animations reacting to a mouse click. It was a game changer for making the web feel more alive.
And clearly, it went way beyond simple form checks. It's one of the core web technologies now, isn't it? Alongside HTML and CSS.
Absolutely. That's the classic trio. HTML gives you the structure, the content.
Like the skeleton.
Right. CSS handles the presentation, the style, how it looks.
The clothes, maybe?
Yeah, good analogy.
Yeah.
And JavaScript, that's the logic, the behavior, the brains, maybe.
Yeah.
Making it all interactive and dynamic.
The nervous system.
Maybe. But yeah, it provides the smarts. And as you said, its role today has just exploded way beyond those early website tricks.
Okay, I think we've got a good feel for what it is and where it came from. So let's talk about today. Where is JavaScript actually used now? I mean, websites, obviously, but you hinted it's much bigger.
Oh, much bigger.
Yeah.
Spot on. Its home ground is still front-end web development, building the user interfaces you interact with.
Right, the part we see and click on.
Exactly. And today, powerful libraries and frameworks like React or Vue or Angular are built on JavaScript. They make building really complex, interactive websites possible. Think about using Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah.
All that content loading as you scroll, the instant updates, the smooth interactions, that's heavily reliant on JavaScript running in your browser.
Wow. So the biggest sites depend on it. It's not just for like little animations anymore.
Definitely not. But here's where it gets really interesting. JavaScript escaped the browser.
Ah, okay. This is the Node.js thing, right? I've heard about that.
Exactly. Node.js is what lets developers run JavaScript code on servers, on the back end, completely outside of a web browser.
Okay, so what does that mean practically?
It means you can build the entire web application from the database and server logic on the back end to the user interface on the front end using just JavaScript. It enables full stack development with one language.
That sounds incredibly efficient.
It is. Companies like the Uber, Netflix, PayPal, LinkedIn, they all use Node.js pretty expensively. It helps with developer productivity, sharing code, building APIs. It's a big deal.
Okay, so front end, back end. What else? You said it's everywhere.
Well, how about mobile apps?
Mobile apps, like for iPhone and Android, but aren't those written in different languages?
Traditionally, yes. But tools like React Native, which is based on React, that front-end library we mentioned, allow developers to write code in JavaScript and build native-like apps for both iOS and Android from essentially a single code base.
Whoa, okay. So you write it once in JavaScript and it works on both major phone types.
Largely, yes. There are always some platform-specific tweaks, but the core is shared. It's a huge time and cost saver for many companies.
I can imagine. That's pretty amazing. Anywhere else?
Yep. Prepare to be surprised, perhaps. Desktop applications.
Desktop apps, like the software I install on my computer, made with JavaScript.
Believe it or not, yes. Frameworks like Electron let developers use web technologies, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, to build cross-platform desktop apps. Ever use Slack?
Yeah, every day.
Or Visual Studio Code, the code editor?
Use that too.
Or Discord, all built with JavaScript using Electron.
That's genuinely blown my mind a bit. I had no idea. Okay. Surely that's it.
Not quite. How about game development?
Games too, like video games.
Well, maybe not the huge blockbuster AAA titles, but definitely browser-based games. There are JavaScript libraries like Phaser and technologies like WebGL that let you create pretty sophisticated 2D and even 3D games that run right in your web browser. No installation needed.
Huh. Browser games. Right. Okay, this list is getting long. Websites, servers, mobile, desktop games. Is there anything left?
One more surprising one, maybe. The Internet of Things, or IoT.
You're kidding? Like
Yeah.
smart devices and sensors?
Yep. Platforms like Johnny 5 allow developers to write JavaScript to control actual physical hardware sensors, motors, LEDs, robots, Arduino boards, you name it.
Okay, you weren't kidding when you said versatile. That's incredible. It really is just about everywhere.
It's become truly ubiquitous.
So, given this enormous reach, this dominance almost, why? What makes JavaScript so successful? Why did it become the language that's everywhere?
That's a great question. There are several key reasons, I think. First, and perhaps most obviously, it runs natively in every modern web browser.
Right. No setup needed.
Exactly. You don't need to install anything special or compile code separately just to run it. You can literally open your browser's developer tools right now and start writing JavaScript. That low barrier to entry is huge.
Makes sense. Easy to get started.
Second, as we've just discussed, it's everywhere. Its sheer popularity means it's the most widely used programming language in the world, according to many surveys.
And that popularity probably feeds into itself, right? More use means more tools.
Precisely. Which leads to the third point, the ecosystem. Especially around Node.js, you have NPM, the Node Package Manager.
NPM. Right. What exactly is that again?
Think of it like a gigantic free app store, but for code modules. Developers can publish reusable pieces of code, called packages, and anyone else can easily download and use them in their own projects.
So building blocks for code.
Perfect analogy. NPM has over 1 million of these packages. You need to work with dates, there's a package. You need to make web requests, there's a package. It saves developers an unbelievable amount of time because they don't have to reinvent the wheel constantly.
Wow. Over 1 million. That's massive. Leverage the community's work.
Exactly. Another huge strength is how JavaScript handles asynchronous operations.
Asynchronous, meaning things happening out of order or at the same time.
Kind of. It means the language is really good at handling tasks that take time, like fetching data from a server or waiting for a user click without freezing everything else up.
Ah, okay, so the page stays responsive.
Precisely. This is absolutely critical for modern web apps. Think about live chat or streaming video feeds or online games. You need the app to respond to new messages or data instantly without stopping you from scrolling or clicking elsewhere. JavaScript's features like promises and async await make this possible and relatively manageable for developers.
Got it. Keeps things smooth even when lots is happening.
Yeah. And then there's the community. Because it's so widely used, there's a massive global community of developers. This means tons of tutorials, forums, libraries, tools, and help available when you get stuck.
So you're never really alone if you run into a problem.
Pretty much. There's always someone who's likely faced a similar issue.
Okay, so easy entry, huge ecosystem, great for real-time stuff, massive community.
And finally, just wrapping back to that versatility,
Yeah.
the fact you can use it for websites, mobile apps, back-end APIs, desktop software, command line tools, IoT, that ability to use one core language across so many domains is incredibly powerful.
It really is compelling when you list it all out. But,
Yeah.
okay, I have to ask. I've definitely heard developers, sometimes jokingly, sometimes not so jokingly, talk about JavaScript being a bit weird. Are there downsides or quirks?
Yes. The quirks, that's definitely fair. JavaScript, especially in its earlier days, did have some interesting behaviors that could trip developers up. Things like type coercion, how it sometimes automatically converts data types in unexpected ways when you compare them. Or the behavior of the keyword this, which could be confusing depending on how a function was called. And the classic gotcha. The difference between double equals, which does type coercion, and triple equals, which doesn't.
Right, versus at. I remember hearing about that. So it wasn't always straightforward.
It had its moments of frustration for developers, for sure. But, and this is really important, the language has evolved a lot.
How so?
Through the ECMAScript standard, which is like the official specification for JavaScript, starting around 2015 with the S6 and continuing with new updates every year since, the language has gained many features that address those earlier pain points and just make it, well, better.
So it's been actively improved.
Massively improved. Modern JavaScript has things like arrow functions, which have cleaner syntax and clearer this behavior. It has destructuring, making it easier to pull data out of objects and arrays. It has proper classes for object-oriented patterns, modules for organizing code better, spread operators for working with arrays. The list goes on.
So a lot of the historical weirdness is less of an issue now with modern practices.
Exactly. The language today is much more elegant, powerful, and frankly more enjoyable to write than it was, say, 10 years ago. It's really matured.
That's great to hear. So looking forward then, what's next for JavaScript? It feels like it's already conquered so much territory.
Well, its future looks incredibly strong. It's not resting on its laurels. One big area is integration with other technologies, like WebAssembly.
WebAssembly, what's that?
Think of it as a way to run code written in other languages, like C++ or Rust, super efficiently inside the browser, right alongside JavaScript.
Ah, so you can mix and match. Use JavaScript for most things, but bring in something else for really heavy computations.
Exactly. It allows web applications to tackle tasks that were previously too demanding, like high-performance gaming, video editing, complex simulations, all in the browser. It complements JavaScript rather than replacing it.
Interesting. So it's becoming even more capable.
Definitely. And the language itself keeps evolving.
Yeah.
New features get added to the standard every year, refining it, adding useful capabilities. Plus, the engines that run JavaScript.
Like V8 and Chrome?
Right. V8, SpiderMonkey in Firefox, JavaScript Core in Safari. They are constantly being optimized. JavaScript code runs significantly faster today than it did just a few years ago, thanks to intense engineering effort.
So it's getting faster and more feature-rich all the time.
Pretty much. All this reinforces that idea of write once, run everywhere. JavaScript is increasingly the central pillar, allowing developers to target almost any platform with a shared set of skills and often a shared code base.
It truly has journeyed an incredible distance from just making things blink on Netscape Navigator.
It really has. It's gone from a simple scripting language for browsers to arguably one of the most fundamental platforms in modern computing.
And you really feel its impact. It's what makes the web feel alive, doesn't it? That interactivity is just expected now.
Absolutely. In today's world, user experience is everything. Users expect instant feedback, dynamic updates, smooth interfaces. JavaScript is the key technology enabling developers to deliver that.
So it sounds like whether you're just curious about code, thinking about learning to program, or you're already a seasoned developer, understanding JavaScript is, well, pretty essential.
I would say so. Given its reach and its continued growth, it's an incredibly valuable skill to have in the tech world today and likely for the foreseeable future.
So here's a thought for you, our listener, to take away. Just reflect on the sheer breadth of things powered by this single language. The website you book travel on, the app you use to chat with friends, maybe even the tool you use to write a document today. What does it signify that one language can underpin such diverse digital experiences?
It's a powerful indicator of how software continues to shape our world.
Indeed. Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the world of JavaScript. We hope this gave you a clearer picture of just how central and versatile it really is. Thanks for tuning in.